Welcome. Today we're going to be looking at another cooking technique. We're going to be looking at moist heat cooking. So with moist heat cooking, you don't use any type of direct heat on your food item. It's mostly cooked within a liquid. So today we're going to be looking at the poaching technique. So it's cooking a food item in a flavorful liquid very gently. It doesn't come up to a boil, not even a simmer. You should see no bubbles on the surface. And I'll show you what that looks like. The very important thing to remember when poaching is that your food item is going to take on the flavor of whatever your poaching liquid is. So you want to make sure you build a very flavorful poaching liquid. So that's where we're going to start. So in a nice size pot, about a medium size, we're going to add some chicken stock. We're going to add a little bit of white cooking wine. At home, you can substitute this out for more chicken stock, or you can just use water. Either one will work. And then we're just going to add in a onion that's been quartered. And then some fresh herbs. So in this particular recipe, we're going to be wanting our chicken breast to take on the flavors of lemon and rosemary. So we're going to add in a little bit of lemon juice. We have some fresh rosemary sprigs. Just going to break those up a little bit. Put those in. And then I always like adding in a few more fresh herbs, especially since we're still a little bit in our summertime. We're starting to hit fall a little bit, so this is a great time to use up any extra herbs in your garden. So I have some fresh parsley and then some fresh sage. I'm going to add that into our pot. So we're going to let our herbs marry in with our chicken stock and our onion just for a little bit. And then we're just going to season our poaching liquid. So we have a little bit of salt. We're going to use some whole black peppercorns. This allows us to be able to take out those the black pepper later, so we don't have those specks of black pepper in our poaching liquid. And then just a little bit of crushed red pepper. So when you're using the poaching technique, you want to make sure that your liquid never comes to a boil. So you can see that there's a little steam coming off. So it is hot, but it's never coming up to a boil. There's no bubbles on the surface. It's a nice, gentle heat. And that's what we want to look for when we're using the poaching technique. So you really want to make sure that you're monitoring your heat. Make sure it's not getting too hot. And now that we have our flavorful liquid brought together, we're going to take our chicken breasts. And this is just an 8-ounce boneless, skinless chicken breast. And we're just going to nestle it in to our poaching liquid. So now this is where we very gently cook our chicken breast. Again, when you're using the poaching technique, you never want your poaching liquid to come up to a simmer or a boil. There should be no rapid movement on the surface. Very, very nice and gentle. You can see that our chicken breast isn't completely submerged in our poaching liquid. So probably halfway through the cooking process, when you're checking the temperature, you may just need to flip it over. That way, so the other side of your chicken breast is nicely submerged into your poaching liquid and that it cooks all the way through. Make sure that as you're going through and you're giving your chicken some time to cook, that you have your thermometer handy so you can check the temperature. Your chicken breast should always come to a temperature of 165 degrees. So we want to make sure that we check that temperature before taking it out, and then we'll have a lovely poached chicken breast. Now, a lot of times with your poaching liquid, once you've taken your chicken breast out, your chicken breast has come to 165 degrees, you can take your poaching liquid and you can reduce it down to use it as a sauce. Or you can always save your poaching liquid and use it in other poaching recipes. So you don't necessarily have to always throw your poaching liquid away. You can use it in other applications. So once your chicken breast is done, you can slice it very nicely. You can reduce down your poaching liquid, use that as a nice sauce, and poached chicken can be served with a variety of side dishes. Rice, mashed potatoes, pastas, roasted root vegetables, any combination of side items you would like. But that key thing to remember with poaching, making sure it's a nice gentle heat. You don't have any bubbles coming up to the surface. You're usually going to have a water temperature of about 160, maybe 170. When you start to approach that 180, 190 range, that's when you're starting to get into that simmer and that boiling range. So we want to make sure that we're monitoring that heat, make sure it's nice and low, gently cook our poached chicken to 165 degrees, and then you'll be all set.